Hi everyone, good evening. I'm Jane at Rockin' Worms. What I'm doing today is sweating my butt off on my back patio so I can bring you some information on how to make prepared bedding if you can't make pre-composted bedding. Because sometimes you don't have the resources, you don't have the space, you don't have the time to do it. So making prepared bedding will still get you farther along where you want to go as far as turning your bedding by your worms into castings as quickly as possible. Anything you do to move your bedding along the spectrum of raw to compost is a benefit. So let's get into how you make prepared bedding. So first of all, I want to show you some of the options you have to make your prepared bedding in. This is a frosting bucket that I got for free at a bakery by asking. Here's a smaller one that I got for free at the same bakery. You can use a garbage can that maybe you have extra. I picked this one off, literally off the side of the road. Somebody threw it out and I said, I can use that. You can of course use 5-gallon bucket. And the last thing I'm just showing you just to spark ideas is this is a Easter bucket I got after Easter at Walmart for 75 cents each. And this again, you could use to make prepared bedding. And if you're like, oh man, Easter's by, well guess what? Halloween's coming and I bet you they're gonna have cute little Halloween buckets that you can pick up afterwards for, you know, again, 50 cents, 75 cents, okay? So that's just to give you some options of what you can use to make prepared bedding in. And oh, by the way, don't forget that turkey roaster pan that you only use one time a year. Put it to work. Make prepared bedding in it. If that's what you got, use it. All right, so real simple. This is just shredded paper. This is white paper, okay? Just shredded paper through my cross-cut shredder. And I'm just gonna put in a couple handfuls, show you how it looks like. This is micro shred cardboard from my micro shredder, because if you can have 2 or 3 shredders, why not? But if you can get your hands on one by, you know, not buying new, if you can avoid it, I'm just mixing this up so the paper will take the moisture better. If you can buy used off of Facebook Marketplace, Goodwill, your local swapping sites for your neighborhood, anything that you can use to buy it used and save yourself a few bucks, I suggest you do it. I want to put my gloves on. I like using these heavier duty gloves when I'm working with my compost as opposed to like the latex gloves, because a little bit heavier, I find that my hands don't cramp as much working with the heavier material. So I do like to use the heavier gloves. They're still a mesh back, so my hands still get wet inside, but it just helps protect, I guess, my hand muscles. Anyways, so here's my bedding. And the reason I'm using paper here as an example is because if you have worms, you're gonna have bedding, right? And a lot of us do use some form of paper and cardboard. But also if you use peat moss, coconut coir, leaves, whatever you use for your bedding, all you're doing is taking that raw bedding and putting some of it in a separate container that you can make your prepared bedding into. So now I need to wet this up. This is 1/8 of a cup. Actually, it's just 1/8 of a cup of worm castings. I've taken the cocoons out and I put water in it. You know, again, if you have chlorinated water, let it aerate so the chlorine dissipates. Otherwise, use rainwater or whatever you want. So anyways, I just put in some water. It's, I don't know, 3 cups, just under 3 cups. I don't know how much it's gonna take, but I'm gonna basically try to dump it all in here because I want to put the castings in as well. You don't have to if you're like, hey, you know, I'm saving all my castings for my garden or my plants. That's fine. Just make worm tea. Use the liquid in your prepared bedding mix and leave the castings out. Or if you have a lot of castings available like I do right now, because my gardening is on the downside here in Florida where it's, you know, hot summer and not much grows during the summer as far as the garden goes. I can afford to put some castings in. All right, and all I'm doing is dampening this up just like I would make pre-compost. All right, and guess what? I'm gonna, you know what? I have some additional worm tea here. I'm just gonna pour in a little bit more here. So now I am on my way to prepared bedding. In fact, I could use this bedding in my worm bins right now if I needed to, okay? In fact, I am up against the wall as far as running out of my pre-compost, which I'm going to show you my bins here in just a couple minutes, and show you 3 bins of pre-compost in different stages so you can see what that looks like. But yeah, I'm out of basically pre-compost, and I realized too late that I could just make some prepared bedding to kind of eke me through until my pre-compost is ready. But, you know, I didn't think about that until like yesterday. So I thought maybe I'd save you guys some of the pain of running out of pre-compost and show you how to make prepared bedding. So if you come into a situation like I am, you know, you can use this. All right. So that's just what it's going to look like. What I would do with this is I would cover it with, you know, the little bit of screening. I have some right here. Hold on a sec. This is an oversized piece, but again, just to give you an idea, I would cover it with some screening, put in some more dry shred on top, and just set it aside for a couple days so it can start to work its magic with all the biota that's in your castings. That's what you're using as an inoculant. That's another word you'll come across with bedding, is you want to inoculate your bedding. And that's just a fancy word for saying you're putting in biota so it can start breaking down your carbon. Is basically what it means. Okay, so I would do this with the screening. If I don't have screening, you don't have to use screening. It just makes it easy to take the shred out so you can come back in and work on your prepared bedding, okay? So anyways, I would leave this for like, you know, 2 or 3 days, come back, take it out, mix it up, and just keep doing that until I use it in my worm bins. Because what's going to happen is this prepared bedding is going to become pre-compost. Okay? It's just the early stages of it. That's all. So I hope this part, kind of part 1 of this video, gives you some ideas of what you can do to make your bedding that much better for your worms if you don't have pre-compost. Okay? Now, let's talk about pre-compost for just a minute. So, huge fan pre-composting. That's how I'm getting fantastic castings out of my breeder bins in particular in 3 weeks. So this bin here is my most finished pre-compost bin. I'm taking out the screening with the burrito wrap, right? This is especially in my outdoor patio. I want to keep as many bugs out as I can, which I've been fairly successful with so far. It's 82 degrees right now. The humidity level is about 10,000%. So I'm already sweating, guys. But we're gonna put this in there, see what our current temperature is in this almost close to being, quote, finished pre-compost. I did temperature check it last night. It was 100 degrees, which had come down from about 113 or 14, I think it got to, and then it's been dropping in stages. I did do a 2-cycle heat and cool on this pre-compost. What's it at? Still at 100 degrees. Okay, that's what it was last night, so I'm not surprised. Let's look at what this, I think I got a mosquito on my back. There we go. Let's look what this pre-compost looks like. Look how beautiful that is. Look how, you can still see, pieces of cardboard shred in there, right? I did not put yeast in here, by the way. I just didn't think of it in time. And now I want it to cool down. So you can still see shreds of cardboard in here, but it's rich, it's black, it's well on its way. The worms are gonna tear through this. What I'm actually in here, moisture, see the moisture on my gloves? So I'm keeping it moist, I'm keeping it aerated. I can feel the heat coming off of this. Okay, beautiful stuff. What I'm gonna use this for is for my breeder bins in 3 weeks. So this bin still has 3 weeks. I'm just gonna get the top here and close it up. So this bin still has 3 weeks that it can cool down and still continue to break down during that process. I will not be adding yeast or anything else to it because I do not want it to go through another heat cycle because I don't have time for it. I need this compost to be ready to rock and roll in 3 weeks. Okay, now we have bin number 2, which is, I forget, but 10 days, 2 weeks old, something like that. Another burrito wrap on top. Put it to the side. And this is, oh, let me stick this in. Thermometer, it's still a little bit, but it was 86, but it's already bouncing up. This was 102 last night. So let's see where it goes. In the meantime, this bedding is more like the prepared bedding I just showed you how to make, okay? The recipe is a little different because I do have coffee in here and I do have vegetable slurry in here, but the concept is the same. You're taking carbon and some type of nitrogen source or inoculant source, and you're getting it working on your carbon before it hits your worm bins. Okay, what's this? 102. So again, not surprising, that's what it was last night. Okay, so let me take this out for just a second. But I want to show you again, I don't know, can you, well, you can probably see over here. You see this fuzzy stuff? This is, the good biota, like a bloom. I guess they call it a bloom. And there's little bits down here. And this, again, this is bacteria bloom. This shows you, other than the heat that, again, is coming off this bin, that the bacteria in here are doing its job. It's eating and digesting and putting off heat and moisture and breaking this carbon down. Again, jump starting what's going to go into my worm bins so my worms can eat it faster, poop it out faster, which means I get castings faster. And again, this is a little bit on the drier side, but again, I'm wanting this bin to cool down actually very quickly now because I need this yesterday to refresh my bedding in my grow out bins. They are in desperate need of harvesting of castings and giving them fresh bedding. So I'm going to take this out tonight after I'm done here, and I'm going to spread it out in a bigger long bin so the heat that is in here can start dissipating, cool it down faster, stabilize it faster, so I can put it into my worm bins hopefully tomorrow or the next day, okay? But again, what I want to show you here is this is more like prepared bedding. This bin, by the way, I only did put through one heat and cool cycle, and I'm in that cool cycle right now because, again, I was pushed to make bedding for my worms, and this is what I could get done in the time frame that, I had. All right, but you can still see how this is so much better than putting in, raw ingredients. Still so much better. All right, I'm gonna close this baby up real quick. Put the old burrito back on. Keep those bugs out. Keep the heat in for now, because again, I'm gonna cool this off here later tonight. Okay, and now the big boy, the one I'm so excited about. This is my big tote, which is basically volume-wise 2 of the totes I just showed you, the smaller ones. The 2 18 gallons, the 18, 20 gallon. I can put those both into this big boy tote. And I don't know if I can see, it says it's a 50 gallon. So this is a 50 gallon tote. All right here, 50 gallon tote. Sterilite, which seems to be my go-to brand for whatever reasons. And if you get down here, you might be able to see the size. But if anybody's looking for it, just ask me and I'll post what the size is. So again, big burrito, works the same, oversized screening. And I'm just gonna roll this down to the end, all right? I can take it out, I have taken it out, but I'm not gonna take it out right now, okay? So what I wanna show you in here, let me put the old thermometer back in, and this, I'm gonna pull this out, I put in a little deep. This guy was 129 degrees 3 nights ago. And I tell you, I was thrilled, 129 degrees. I've never gotten a bin that hot. Now, how hot is too hot? Someone did ask me that in one of the, discussion comments, and I don't think I got back to that person because I didn't have the answer and then I lost the comment. But here's the answer to what is too hot. First of all, above 106 degrees is too hot for your compost because the type of bacteria that we're shooting for just dies out above 160 degrees, okay? Now, again, in these smaller bins, you're not going to get to 160 degrees. The thermophilic range of temperatures, which is really what we're shooting for ideally, goes up to about 132 degrees. And I got to 129, so I was pretty close to the top of the thermophilic bacterial range temperature, and that again just thrilled me to no end. This is 122 degrees. That's what it was last night, 122. I think I found one spot more in the middle that was 123 degrees, but again, close enough is good enough, okay? So this is amazing things. This has also been only through one heat and cool, it's starting to cool down, one heat and cool cycle. So oh my gosh, that's warm. Holy cow. So what I'm hoping to do is buy myself enough time with the other 2 bins that I can put this through a second heat and cool cycle. Okay, that's my hope. We'll see how that goes. But again, you can see oh God, I can see the heat waves coming off. I don't know if the camera can catch it. But you can see again that this is a little bit more in the prepared bedding range of being broken down, but it's way too hot to put in a worm bin. It would just cook your worms. But it just shows you what you can obtain with free cardboard, free paper, free coffee grounds from Starbucks or another coffee shop. One of my posters had said she had gone to a local coffee shop, talked to them, and they were like, yeah, we'll give you our coffee grounds. So, she put on her big girl panties and she went and she talked to somebody and she's getting, coffee grounds that she, wouldn't have had access to otherwise. And then again, vegetable slurry, which is your food scraps or, your canned vegetable juices, whatever you can get. And this is dry. This is actually really dry. And the fact that it's 122 degrees when it's this dry is, again, just a testament to how much composting you can get done in a very little space. So I'm going to add some vegetable water to this later on, which again, it'll just start my second heating cycle. All right. I'm actually going to close this up afterwards because I normally work on the other end of the bin, so it's a little awkward for me on this end. But okay, so that's what I wanted to show you in this video. Basically, that you can do, you know, prepared bedding and help your worms out quite simply. You can use a variety of containers that are, you know, easily accessible, or you can, you know, maybe go to the dollar store. They have little garbage cans for $1.25 or $3. And just get started making yourself some prepared bedding. And then when you're ready, move on to making pre-compost bedding, okay? It's gonna benefit your worms, it's gonna benefit you, it's gonna benefit the planet, your plants, everybody will be happy, okay? So that's it. Please put, you know, questions, comments, what you're doing into the comment area. I do read all the comments. I do respond. If you ask me a question and I don't get back to you, rattle my cage again in a week, because it might have just gone by me, or I wanted to get back to you and then I couldn't find your question because it's on a different, you know, video. So just rattle my cage again and, you know, give me another chance to answer your question, okay? Otherwise, I hope you have a good evening and you're happy and your worms are happy. Otherwise, I am yours in the dirt, Jane.